The story begins in Portland, Oregon. A young woman in a red sweatshirt is jogging through the woods early in the morning. She stops to look at a small figurine sitting on a log. Before she can even reach down to pick it up, something attacks her from the darkness. Her screams echo through the trees. By the time anyone finds the scene, there is almost nothing left. A severed arm, a pink shoe, and an iPod lying in the dirt, still playing a song on repeat. Nick Burkhart is a Portland homicide detective. He has a good life, a girlfriend named Juliet he loves deeply, a solid career, a dependable partner named Hank Griffin. That morning, Nick has just bought an engagement ring he is about to propose. Everything feels settled and right. Then, walking out of the jewelry store, he glances at a woman passing by on the street, and her face briefly twists into something monstrous. An old, sharp-featured creature with hollow eyes. He blinks, and she is a normal woman again. He tells himself it was nothing. At the police station minutes later, a suspect being processed across the room snarls at Nick, and his face distorts into something animal, wide-jawed, feral, terrifying. Then it is normal again. Nick says nothing to Hank. He does not know what is happening to him. Nick and Hank are called to the woods to investigate the attack. Forest Service officers show them the scene. Boot prints, a torn backpack with the initials RH on it, a severed arm. The evidence suggests an animal attack, but the boot prints clearly belong to a person. Nick finds the iPod. The song on it has been playing on repeat since the attack happened. That evening, Nick comes home to find an unexpected visitor. His Aunt Marie has arrived unannounced, pulling a large trailer behind her truck. Nick has always been close to Marie. She raised him after his parents died in a car accident when he was 12. But tonight, she looks pale and thin. She takes Nick outside away from Juliet and tells him she has cancer. She does not have long to live. Then she tells him something else. Something that changes his entire understanding of the world he lives in. Marie tells Nick that the things he has been seeing are real. People whose faces change, creatures hiding inside human skin. They have a name. They are called Wason, beings who have lived alongside humanity for thousands of years, concealing what they truly are. And the reason Nick can see them is because of what he is. He comes from a long line of hunters called Grimms. For centuries, Grimms have tracked, documented, and when necessary, eliminated dangerous Weason to protect ordinary people who have no idea this hidden world exists. The brothers Grimm, whose fairy tales the whole world knows, were not simply storytellers. They were historians of the Grimm world, encoding their field knowledge into stories so it would survive. Before Nick can fully absorb any of this, a man with a scythe attacks them in the parking lot. Marie fights back with surprising ferocity despite her illness. Nick shoots the attacker. The man collapses, and as he dies, his face shifts back to human. Marie is badly injured in the fight and taken to the hospital. Before she loses consciousness, she presses a small antique key into Nick's hand and tells him to protect it with his life. People want it. Very dangerous people. At the hospital, Marie tells Nick more when she is able to speak. The trailer she brought contains everything he needs. Books, weapons, a lifetime of Grimm knowledge accumulated across generations. She tells him the key is more important than he yet understands. Then she warns him about something else. There is a second missing girl, a little girl named Robin Howell, who was wearing a red sweater and was last seen walking to her grandparents' house through the park. Nick goes to Marie's trailer that night. Inside, he finds something extraordinary. Shelves of old books filled with hand-drawn illustrations of creatures, detailed anatomical notes, behavioral observations, methods of hunting, weapons of every kind, some of them clearly very old. This is the Grimm archive. Centuries of knowledge passed down through his family. He finds a page showing the creature he has been looking for, a bloodbad, a wolf-like weason with a particular fixation on young women wearing red. The boot prints from the crime scene lead Nick to a suspect named Monroe. He brings Monroe in for questioning. Monroe is clean, no record, no connection to the crime scene that can be proven. But Nick saw his face change when he looked at him. After his release, Nick follows Monroe back to his house. Monroe senses someone is watching. He turns off the lights inside, then smashes through the window directly onto Nick and slams him against the wall in full Wason form, enormous, wolf-faced, growling. Then he steps back, shifts back to human, and tells Nick to lighten up. He was just making a point. He invites Nick inside for a beer. Monroe has recognized Nick immediately for what he is. He has never seen a Grimm in person before. His parents used to scare him with stories about Grimms when he was a child. He tells Nick he is a bloodbad, the same kind of creature that the Big Bad Wolf fairy tale was based on. But he is reformed. He follows a strict personal regimen, diet, exercise, discipline, and has not harmed anyone in years. He knows about the Grimm books. He knows Nick has just inherited this world and has no idea what he is doing. Nick asks Monroe for help finding Robin. Monroe reluctantly agrees. Using his ability to track scent, Monroe leads Nick through the woods toward another bloodbad's location, a postman named Ditmarsh, who lives alone in a cabin in the forest. Monroe gets close enough to pick up the scent, but the pull of his own wolf nature in proximity to another bloodbad begins affecting him. He cannot go further without risking losing control. He steps back and leaves Nick to handle it alone. Nick calls in Hank. The two of them approach the cabin. Ditmarsh appears calm, a simple postman, nothing obviously threatening. They are almost ready to leave when Hank notices something. Ditmarsh is humming the exact song from the dead girl's iPod. They go back inside. The lights cut out. Ditmarsh attacks Hank in full wizen form. He runs. Nick chases him. Hank fires. Ditmarsh goes down. Nick reaches him and demands to know where Robin is. The man looks up at him and says one word, Grimm, and dies. Nick finds Robin hidden in the cabin, wrapped in a rug under a table. She is alive. She is brought out safely. Back at the hospital, Marie is attacked by a hexen beast, a witch-like weazen who disguises herself as a nurse and tries to inject a lethal substance directly into Marie's IV. Nick arrives just in time and stops her. The hexen beast escapes. The attacker had been sent by someone who wants the key. Nick does not yet know who that someone is. Aunt Marie dies not long after. Nick buries her. He is now the only Grimm left in Portland, the last of his family line, carrying a key whose purpose he does not understand and a world full of creatures only he can see.